In this video, I will teach you how to install this LED bar here on the Audi A38V, both in the sedan and the hatch. So for the Audi A3 sedan, I will demonstrate this bar for you. It changes colors, so you can alter the IT color. Remember, this is a completely new bar, not just the LED, it's a completely new bar. I think you should leave your like, because obviously this is content that no one here on the channel makes. Well, no one does it in the Brazilian market or abroad. I didn't find anyone making this type of content. So in this video, I will show you and teach you step by step how to dismantle the door and install this bar completely so that you can learn how to do it at home. So it's worth your subscription here on the channel. Remember that we have much more content talking about accessories here, explaining and showing about accessories and retrofits, teaching installations. So I hope you liked the video. Let's start the disassembly. I'll pass it on here to you right after explaining everything you'll need for the complete door disassembly as well as for the installation. So let's begin the disassembly now. Starting now, we will need only two tools, a plastic key for the disassembly and a Torx T25 for the disassembly. Starting here, what we will do with the plastic key, we're going to stick it here in this trim where the speaker would be in the door. We are going to slide it behind the trim so we can remove and release the locks. Remember, you must do it with a lot of care. Once it's loose behind this trim, we will find two screws which hold the door in place. So using the T25 key, it could be an L-shaped key or it could be some other type of key. How am I doing? We will be loosening three screws, two on the top, which are hidden behind the trim, and the one below that I pointed out to you. So I'm going to loosen the screws here so you can see the number of screws and also the disassembly. Done. The three screws are removed. I will show them to you so you can see. These are the three screws. Okay, all three are Torx T25. All three are the same. There's no difference. Once they're loose, we're going to move on to the part where we release the clips. The door no longer has any screws that hold the door, so we're going to release the clips now. We will use the plastic key, sticking it between the door and the door trim. As a tip, I recommend lowering the window because it also helps a lot since the door is attached towards the top. Now we'll fit it at the bottom of the door. It's very hard to pull and release the clips, so you can use a lot of force because it really is difficult to release. I will fast forward the video so it doesn't get too long. I'm releasing the clips carefully so as not to break anything, using force and then pull it very hard to be able to release it. I've managed to release the door now. It's almost... Here it's all loose, right? When it's all loose, you'll see that it will be very easy to move it, and the lock is very tough as you can see, and now it's already loose. So now for us to remove it is just to pull it upwards in a vertical direction. You lift the door and it will disengage from the door trim. Later I'll show you that trim. It's up there and we are only going to remove two plugs. One of them is from the handle. You can see the handle moving. I will show you later how it fits. Without it, the door won't come out. The plug from the handle is quite simple to remove. Then we will loosen the plug that connects from the door wiring to the door lining. Alright, so let's begin. I'll show you one of the tips I typically use. I always suggest to people, that it helps to use the door lining. You fit it onto the door itself. As it matches the same design as the door, it makes it easier for you to have more mobility. You don't have to hold both things at the same time, and it's going to be a lot of work to get it right. Moving the door lining more easily without having to rest it on the floor prevents it from getting scratched or damaged. So, I have detached it. So, you see this blue plug in the video, and I fitted the door onto the door design itself. Now, I'm going to bring you here to show you some things about the door. This here is the pin that we use to open and close the car handle, okay? It's located here in this spot, in this little silver pin. You fit it and turn it to the right and it pulls it forward. This is the connector on the door. It's the only connector that connects everything on the door lining with the door, on the car system that goes in this module that you saw earlier. Here are some things that I must share with you so that you know how to disassemble and assemble everything with safety. Now, I'm going to explain it to you clearly, showing how the connection is made. It's about the installation of the LED bar on the door. Here's the lining. One of the things I'm talking about here in the video is the subwoofer that goes on the door, the speaker on the door that is attached to the door frame. Even for those who need to replace the glass mechanism or have a problem, this is useful. Here is the door control unit, and now we're going to the part that you really want to know. You'll see there are 2 screws. In my case, I removed these screws. I did not want to put in this wiring that I'm showing you. This includes 2 wires with this small plug in the middle that is from the LED bar. So here are the plugs. We connect it, and it's connected in the original plug for locking and unlocking the door. It's plug and play. You don't need to cut any wires. Here are the connectors. It comes with a Y, or a bypass that we refer to, which is a Y that allows you to pull the power from one location and keep that power going to this location. To put it sequentially, in this case, we turn it off. In theory, we would be disconnecting the plug for locking and unlocking the door. This would be this original yellow plug that goes in this brown spot. What we will do is, we are going to connect to this bypass that we call, which is a Y, that keeps passing the signal from one to the other and sends the power signal to something else. So everything here is used and made with connectors in the same standard as the original ones in this kit. Right, first we're going to connect one of them directly to the connector, right, on the port itself, which is this one. With one hand, it's a little more complicated to do, but I think it'll work fine here. So you can see connected, the second plug here, right, we will use it to connect the wire that comes from the control unit itself, right. One is the sensor, right, or the plug. Right, the sensor that is on the door. The other is the wire that would be connected, which is the one where we are making this bypass, right? That we are making this connection between one and the other so that we can pull the energy, right? Exactly to this plug, right? And from this plug, the power comes out for the door lighting. Well, here you will see there is a little screw. In my case, I left it out because I didn't want to put it in since there is no need. It is stuck very well without even these 2 screws, but when you are going to disassemble it, there will be a little screw. You will have to loosen a clip in the middle that you have to tighten from the inside so that you can remove it, right? So I'm going to show you here. Here's the door bar. When you loosen it, right, the 2 screws, you'll be able to push it forward. You can push it forward with your finger and it will come out. One of the important tips when you put it in is always about aligning it well, looking carefully at the little details on the edge so it can fit properly so as not to leave those ugly gaps, right? Because there are a lot of people who say that, oh, mine didn't fit right, oh my, it didn't look good, because they didn't even waste time fitting it correctly. So be careful, be patient, assemble it slowly so it looks good, and always use this scheme that I use, you know, using the door as support, right? The car door itself, the design of the car door is support to make it easier to move, okay? Now at this point, I'm going to put the door back together again, right? And I'm going to give you a tip on how to fit the door, because a lot of people fit it wrong and the door can't fit. So we're going to get the plug first, so we have to connect the plug to the door control unit first to supply power, and then, you know, connect this wire, right? This steel wire, which is the wire that opens the door, you know, through the internal handle. If you forget the wire, the door won't open. If you forget the plug, you can't raise or lower the window or do anything else. So first we're going to connect the plug here, right? Obviously it has this pink lock on top, so you're going to connect it and push it up, you know, simply the lock. Just by pushing it up, the plug goes in. Right? And it already locks, so it's very simple to do this. Next, we will connect it to the door itself. In this case, this part here, which is the lever that opens the door from the inside, right? And it will fit there. This is very easy to do, there's no difficulty, it's very simple. And now, right, the most important part, which is fitting the door into the upper part, right? Because the door is first fitted into the upper part and then at the bottom. I'm going to take you here so I can show you here, right, in this case, what the fitting is like, so that it's easier for you to understand how it's done, and also so that you understand where this guide that I tell you here, right, because a lot of people install it wrong. Don't look at this guide and then it's rubbish. So you'll see that there's a big gap here. This gap is precisely for you to fit the door's gap into it. So if you fit one gap into the other, then yes, it stays straight. The door fits well and is well sealed without noise. Everything looks nice. So this is the correct way you place the door fitted inside this gap. If you don't place it inside this gap, it will be crooked. It won't close properly. It will make noise. There may be places where you install some accessories and you may not pay enough attention and end up installing things crooked, which leads to noise and imperfect finishing. So the correct way is what I'm telling you, and I will show you in the video, okay? It's a bit annoying until we get it to fit properly, see everything correctly, because there's a clip. At the top, at this point, it was fitted well. The gap is correct. One thing you have to use as a reference point is whether the gap at the top is correct. If one point has a much larger gap than the other, it's already wrong. So there's no point if the gap is crooked or uneven. Everything fits properly and the gaps are identical. So this is how it has to be, guys. The gap must fit properly. Only then will it have a good finish, okay? In the end, after you fit this part of the door, you will hit the door, literally hit it with your hand to lock the clips. Then you hit it and the clips lock in place. It's always important before putting the door back to confirm. If all the clips are back in the same place, there's no problem tapping with your hand because you won't break anything. It's just to make it easier to fit. You can also push with your hand if you want, but it's the same, it doesn't make any difference. So everything is in place. Now we will do the next part, which is replacing the screws to finish reassembling the door. As I mentioned earlier, use the T25 Torx key and return the 3 screws. I'm going to speed up the video here so it doesn't take too long, right? We're going to place and tighten the 3 screws, the 2 on top that are behind the finish, and the last one on the bottom that's hidden. Now we're going to get the plastic screen. Reassembling it is really easy. It has a guide pin on the side that I'm showing you. Fit it in first or you'll break the finish. After it fits perfectly on the side, just push it forward. It fits, you push it, locks in place, and the original perfect finish is back. Very simple, very easy. Finishing fitted, the entire door reassembled. Now, I'm going to show you that we can reduce or increase the light intensity, also change the light's colors. This is a really nice finish and it comes with a whole new bar. Many people think it only comes with the LED. No, it's a whole new bar. You take off your entire original bar and put this whole new bar in your car. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a rare and hard work. If you want to learn all about coding with the best coder in the market, who is the first in Brazil to work with coding, which is me, then obviously the first links in the description will teach you more about retrofit and coding. We have courses from scratch to professional coding from the best in Brazil. I hope you enjoyed it. This type of video takes a lot of work. Everyone take care. Goodbye.